So it looks like Microsoft is heating things up, and this could be something that gets a lot of attention if they actually pull it off right. Whether or not they do that, I think that's probably another story altogether. But, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where hopefully Microsoft kind of gets things going out and kind of gets people excited again. We had some bad news about, it's the hardware and stuff like that. That it's not doing so well for Microsoft, but hopefully it's doing well enough to continue. At the very least, as a fan, I want to see Xbox continue to release and continue to be supported. In my opinion, if you have a console, you have to be all in. You're either all in or you're all out. And I just feel like ever since they did that announcement in February that they were putting games on PlayStation, that the sales have just gotten worse and worse and worse. So we'll see kind of what happens. Anyway, it could be anything, but this I think is good news. One thing is for sure, right? Regardless, if you're an Xbox owner right this second, you are gonna have games to play, right? And if you're a Game Pass subscriber, whatever the case may be, you're gonna definitely have stuff to play, and I think that's going to be a good thing. So for me, that's how I'm kind of taking it. Now if they do start putting literally everything on PlayStation, this will probably be my last Xbox, but for right now I'm going to continue to play the games and continue to have a good time. So we'll see what happens. Let's get started. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you for checking it out. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Please like the video, share it out, all that kind of good stuff. I'm doing daily gaming content here, folks, daily. So like the videos, share them out, subscribe if you haven't already done so, which would be pretty awesome if you guys could do that. Now, again, it looks like we have some confirmation that Microsoft's going to be holding a showcase in January, according to multiple people. Xbox looks like they're going to be preparing to hold a first-party showcase in January, so not that much longer to be from now. The company held its first Developer Direct event in January 2023, which is followed by its second one in January 2024. And now well-informed reporters are saying that they're expecting Xbox event to take place. It feels like Microsoft has finally hit a good cadence with Xbox Game Pass releases, especially with recent drops like Indiana Jones and what's ahead in 25. Avowed, South to Midnight, Doom, Towerborn, Fable, Outer Worlds 2, and more are coming next year. I'm also expecting an Xbox event in January. Whether it's an assumption based on Microsoft's recent history of holding events in January, or if it's informed by insider knowledge, isn't clear, but they're not the only ones and the only reliable source who thinks Xbox has an event coming in early 2025. Earlier in the month, Windows Central Jez Gordon said Microsoft wasn't planning many first-party announcements at the Game Awards, pending Xbox's own Direct in Q1. Last month, Microsoft gaming CEO Phil the Dude Spencer reiterated that the company won't rule out any first-party games potentially going to rival platforms such as PlayStation and Nintendo in the future, while Matt Booty, Microsoft's president of game content and studios, also told Variety that they're very much making the exclusivity and windowing decisions on a game-by-game basis, and each of the studios is in a little bit of a different position. There's also the production timeline of a game, so the decision of spacing comes there first. We want to make sure there's a great experience for our Xbox players, and then gap between when it becomes available for PlayStation is as much of a production decision as anything else. So, it's one of those things that's kind of interesting to kind of hear. I feel like these events lose a little bit of something, in my opinion, because of the fact that the Xbox games go to PlayStation now, so it just is one of those things where we kind of look at it and go, it does lose some of its luster. I'm not going to lie. Like, if this were, a typical thing like in the past where, these Xbox, they're exclusive or whatever the case may be, then I think that would be a much different situation. But, at the end of the day, we live in a world where Microsoft is going to be very metrics driven and not really care about, the facts or the feelings of like the fans. And I mentioned this in another video as well, which was basically, if Microsoft is making this play or this bet based off of the 4 games that they ported previously and people not abandoning in mass Xbox, like, yeah, I mean, obviously people aren't going to just in mass just get rid of their Xboxes in the middle of a generation. You know what I mean? That would be foolish. You know what I mean? Even the most hardcore Xbox fans, I mean, sure, some, but, you know, was anybody going to do that over Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment? You know, it was never going to happen that way. You know, on the other hand, I think that Microsoft severely kind of doesn't really respect the fans, and they severely underestimate who will leave Xbox or who will buy into an Xbox the next generation. You know, if they decide to put stuff like Halo and Gears and, you know, Forza and all that kind of stuff on PlayStation. If that's the case, then yeah, you know, it's going to be a tough situation, a tough road to hoe, so to speak, because, you know, Microsoft really is going to have to kind of do something special there. I mean, and the thing is, for me anyway, what can Microsoft do at this point that's going to really drive people to an Xbox? Like, it was funny because I got into sort of a little bit of a back and forth with somebody on X who was like, oh yeah, Microsoft doesn't care about this generation. They know they're not going to sell a lot of consoles. They're really, you know, getting ready for next gen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so the plan is to stink it up this entire generation and then somehow do well next generation with, you know, all their games going to PlayStation, and they're going to win back people how? Like, that argument never really much made sense to me. You know, it's like if you're trying to stay relevant and trying to stay in the console space, then you really have to go out of your way to make sure that, you know, you have stuff for gamers to play and stuff that's unique, you know. Like, I've said this a million times, it's not exactly a one-to-one, but what I will say is, like, if you could watch Stranger Things on Disney, right, would you still subscribe to Netflix, right? It's kind of the same thing with, you know, the other situation with Xbox, right? If you can, and it's a one-way street, which is the real problem in my opinion. You know, you have to be able to have games that appeal to, you know, to the fans. You know, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to give them something special. And I know that some people will go, well, that's Game Pass. Well, listen, that, you know, you might as well say that's GameFly, right? Because it's a rental service. That is definitely not a reason to go out and, you know, buy an Xbox or whatever the case may be, in my opinion. You know, if Game Pass were such a huge thing, then, you know, then that's going to be something that we would have already seen by now. I mean, Game Pass has been out for how long? It hasn't really led to an increase of anything along the line of, like, sales and things like that. You know, I really hope that can maybe change in the future or whatever. But, you know, at the same point in time, you know, we'll have to see if that's something that realistically can happen. So, you know, again, I'm kind of at a little bit of a loss with, you know, the things that are kind of happening in the gaming industry right now. Things are definitely changing. Things are different. You know, does that necessarily mean bad? I think it really kind of depends on what's going on and what, like, what the plan is, you know. You know, I hope that they do that. So I hope that, you know, at the end of the day that, you know, Microsoft can be great, and I hope that, you know, fans can be excited again like we used to be, you know. I haven't seen it so much lately. You know, it's kind of unfortunate, but, you know, anything can happen. You know, Microsoft can, you know, change at the drop of a hat, as we've seen numerous times before. So, you know, I know that a lot of you are probably disenchanted a bit with what Microsoft are doing, but, you know, anything can change. They could change back. They could do this. They could do that. Knick-knack, paddywhack. You know what I mean? Like, anything can happen. And we'll see what happens at the end of the day. You know, Microsoft, you know, if they could just start paying a little bit of attention to, you know, the fans, I think they would be probably much better off. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think I appreciate it. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, and always remember to subscribe and like the videos. I'll catch you next time. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Crap Gamer out.